Hey everyone, I'm here with a 2018 Subaru Outback 2.5i Touring, and today I just want to go over how to burn off some carbon on the back of the intake valves as well as the spark plugs as called out by Subaru in a recent technical service bulletin. I've already added a polyether amine carbon cleaner. That's a genuine Subaru carbon cleaning agent to the full gas tank, and added a full tank of gas to the vehicle, which is 18.5 gallons. And so now that the vehicle has had that in that gas tank for several miles now, I'm going to run the procedure that Subaru calls out in this new technical service bulletin. It's especially useful for direct injection engines, as they don't get fuel on the back of the intake valves like a normal port injection engine. But this procedure should also burn off carbon on the spark plugs for port injection and dual injection vehicles as well. So let's step inside the car, because it's starting to pour outside, so we can get started with this procedure. So now that we're inside the vehicle, it's been running for several minutes now. Now we can do the procedure. The vehicle has to be up to full operating temperature, which in this case it is. So we're good to go. It's recommended that the hood be open for this procedure. So if it's not raining, in this case it is raining, but if it's not raining, you can open the hood or use a cooling fan, external cooling fan, to cool off the engine so it doesn't have any issues in especially warmer weather. We're only at 67 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's actually relatively cool. It's not too hot outside, so I'm not too concerned about it. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to hold the RPMs at 3,500 for 25 seconds, and then bring the RPMs back down to idle for 5 seconds, and then back up to 3,500 RPM again, and we'll do that 5 times, and then we'll repeat the whole procedure twice, so a grand total of 3 times. So again, hold the engine at 3,500 RPM for 25 seconds, then let it go back down to idle for 5 seconds, and then bring it back up to 3,500 for 25 seconds, back down to idle for 5 seconds, and then do that 3 more times. Then let the vehicle rest at idle, in this case about 680 to 700 RPM for 30 seconds, and then repeat the procedure, and then let it idle again for 30 seconds, and then repeat the procedure. So you only want to do the procedure 3 times total, and this should burn off some carbon on the spark plugs, and just overall improve your gas mileage and power of the vehicle. This basically heats up the engine just enough to burn off that carbon without overheating the whole engine beyond its specifications. So this is a Subaru called out procedure using that carbon cleaner that's already in the gas tank. That cost me, I think, $23 and some change after tax, and it has to be on a full tank of fuel when you do this too. It's also recommended after this procedure to change the oil. So if I were you, I would keep this within 1,000 miles of your oil change interval. This car is due for an oil change in about 800 miles, and it's at about 5,200 miles on this oil change on full synthetic. So I'll get the oil change really soon after this, and that way you get fresh oil in the system if any carbon gets into the oil reservoir. All right, so we'll get started with this procedure. Now, just to keep in mind, this procedure is quite noisy, so I'd recommend going to a relatively isolated place that's not going to bother too many people or draw a ton of attention to yourself. However, it doesn't really matter where you are. Just do this in a well-ventilated area so the exhaust fumes can escape into the atmosphere without suffocating anybody. All right, so we'll rev it up to 3,500 RPM here. We'll hold it there for 25 seconds total. Then after 25 seconds, then you want to let the RPMs down from 3,500 down to idle, and keep it there for 5 seconds after it hits 700 RPM. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then bring it back up to 3,500 RPM. then hold it there for 25 more seconds. Then you're gonna bring the RPMs back down to idle again, and then let it rest there for 5 seconds. And then you're gonna do this 3 more times, let the engine then again rest for 30 seconds, and then repeat the procedure twice. And then you should be able to burn off all that carbon on the spark plugs of the engine. All right, so that's the carbon cleaning procedure using the Subaru of America polyether amine carbon cleaning agent to be put into a full tank of gas. Let it run through the engine for a few miles, and then do this procedure to burn off carbon on the spark plugs. I did this procedure a grand total of 3 times, which is recommended by the technical service bulletin issued by Subaru of America. I'll link that technical service bulletin in the description below, and then I'll flash an image of the procedure up on the screen as well, so you guys can see that. Again, this applies more to the direct fuel injection vehicles that Subaru makes in recent years, but this procedure will also work to a slightly lesser degree on the port injection, fuel injection Subarus, including the dual fuel injection D4S Subaru Boxer engines as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and I hope that it was informative for you. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the section below. Again, this procedure will help with fuel economy and overall power and acceleration for the engine, so that carbon can be burned off and cleaned from the system to give you just better overall performance. All right, guys, thanks for watching and have a great day.